Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Everyday Excellence. I'm your host, Todd Baldwin, and today we have Harden Goldenberg, owner of Smart Space. Harden, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Excited to be here.
Thanks for hopping on, Harden. I love talking to entrepreneurs, so I really appreciate your time and jumping on our show. So, Harden, tell me a little bit about Smart Space. I'm sure you could do a much better job introducing your company than I could.
Sure. So, always been really passionate about environmental policy, and I used to work on the nonprofit side. And in grad school, I got really excited. Of course, I got the entrepreneurial bug, and I got really excited about starting a business that would impact the carbon footprint. So I started Smart Space about 14 years ago. Um, and what it is a business, it's a full service business where we are right now in the residential space, but we're also moving into the commercial space where we perform home energy audits using lots of diagnostic equipment. We test the leakage of the house and the leakage of the ducts. We perform safety testing, gather a lot of information, and we have a full service sort of pipeline with our customers where we then create two full reports. We sit down with them for about an hour over like Google Meets or virtually. And then we also have a really great in-house weatherization crew that we've trained, and we retrofit homes top to bottom to improve the efficiency, indoor air quality, and performance and of homes in general and comfort. And then we come back and do a post audit and to verify all the changes, and we apply for rebates. And there's some really exciting rebates through the federal government and utility companies. So I'm really passionate about it, and I have a really great team, and I'm excited to scale my business.
It's
So
awesome.
yeah,
And so,
that's cool.
when did you start the business?
About 14 years ago.
Okay, great. And tell everybody, where are you located? What areas
I'm
do you
located
serve?
Yeah, sure, sure. I'm in Atlanta. Yeah, so which is an exciting place because there's really a really wonderful community of for-profit and nonprofit entities and organizations that are really passionate about what I do. So that part's really exciting too. And of course, a lot of really old houses. I'm really passionate about old houses and buildings. They're very leaky. So yeah,
They're sick. They need help, right? Yeah.
they
So,
do.
uh, so congrats on the 14 plus years of being in business. If we were to look back, and go back to those early years, what were some of the early challenges you faced in starting Smart Space?
Well, just let's see. Well, just learning and mastering every component of my business is, of course, challenging and exciting, and finding the right team. Of course, you have to vet quite a few people. Um, so those are the biggest ones, for sure. In construction, things go sideways. So I think initially it's really stressful in construction when you first start having that first big mistake on a job, but then you learn through confidence that you can fix anything. And then, and actually, homeowners and customers, that's where you really build trust, because mistakes happen. But, as long as you're the contractor and you're the business that always fixes things, then you really start to like not react, and be as stressed when something goes sideways a little bit, which it will happen in construction. So, yeah.
Sure. Yeah. Construction, you never know what's behind those walls or so forth, right? There's always seems to be
Right, there's
surprises.
surprises. Yeah, for sure.
And so you got to be able to adapt, right? And handle, I guess, those surprises that come up. You mentioned your team. You've mentioned a couple times. So I know over here at Everyday Media Group, we're really big on our culture, right? So tell me a little bit about your culture, right? And how does your team contribute to the success of your services that you offer?
Really excited and passionate about my team right now because, of course, you have to vet quite a few people and you have to let people go who are not as focused on your mission and your culture. But my team is really solid right now. And we just want to set ourselves apart from um, like, contractors kinda have a bad rap and a bad name because they don't follow through. They cut corners when no one's looking, and so we're really focused on not being that contractor, who, that we don't ever cut corners, and we're also really I have noticed too, because of the way that our, business is structured, that we're really focused on solving home performance and whole house issues, and so when inherently in our business structure, we're good at solving problems that other businesses can't really solve just because they only offer one solution. So that part's really fun and exciting. And so everyone on my team loves that aspect of it, is that because we offer so many services top to bottom, that we usually can fix people's sort of home performance issues with comfort, indoor air quality, high relative humidity really well. And they've already approached a lot of other professionals that couldn't do it because they only had one approach. So it keeps my team really passionate and stimulated. And then, of course, we just set that culture of like setting that bar high. And it just feels really good. I just have a lot of really kind, hardworking teams. So it just feels great.
It's awesome to hear that you're really excited and passionate about your team currently. 'Cause people are so hard to find, good people, right? So
Yes.
that is awesome to hear. I'm just curious, can you share a story or example of how your team's gone above and beyond to meet customer needs or a project?
Yeah, like our favorite houses are because there's actually a lot of generous rebates right now, short term through the federal government and utility companies here in Georgia. A lot of our customers, we also partner with a great nonprofit, so we offer financing for really competitive rates. So we're doing really big projects on people's homes, kind of top to bottom. We can also offer a small project, so we like to be loose but like those are really satisfying, like an older ranch home, or for instance, and it just needs everything. They have 80% leaky metal ducts with disconnects, like really bad, and like crawl space, doors that need to be weather stripped, like attic and no insulation, really, really leaky house. And we cut the house in half, and we improve the indoor air quality. They notice right away the comfort. And and then they get these big rebate checks, and it's just really, really rewarding. They write really great reviews for us, but it's hard.
It's
My
awesome.
crew will just
Yeah.
put their head down, and it's really hard work. But we all just love the relationship we have with the customers, and it just inherently is really rewarding. So yeah, yeah, those are our favorite. Like, just give us those kind of houses. We love it.
Yeah, no, I love to hear the passion and just talking about your projects and different types of jobs that you really like. I'm curious. My guess is the public probably didn't know these rebates are out there. Is that true or false?
People like I found now that I've been doing this for 14 years, what's interesting is I'm seeing a shift in the zeitgeist, or just the collective knowledge of a lot of our services, where I found in the beginning, like, a lot of people just didn't understand or know about radon. We're also radon mitigators, didn't understand the rebates, don't understand the impact of air sealing and crawl space encapsulations and sealing and balance your ducts. They think, like, initially I'll get calls like, "Oh, my house is really cold, and uncomfortable. Can you put some attic insulation in my attic?" I'm like, "Okay, we're gonna need to look at a lot of other things." You know? And so I found that the knowledge wasn't there, but now I'm noticing that people are seeing the value and will call me, and they will nerd out on their and they'll learn the building science they'll do some research on their own and then call me with pretty educated questions. So I'm seeing a shift in the general public about their knowledge and value of what we do, where before no one understood. We would have to take, and that's why we spend an hour with everyone, virtually, to educate people top to bottom about best practices and that kind of thing. So we've noticed a real shift in people starting to understand, how our services impact their house, before they even call us.
Sure, I'm sure education is challenging because it's a unique. What you do is unique, right? It's not something that's typically top of mind. I
Yes.
would think of a homeowner or a business owner. So it's very interesting. Let's talk a little bit about growth. What are some of the growth strategies you've implemented at Smart Space?
Yeah, so, luckily, up till now, but I'm super excited because we've mastered every service we offer. Um, Now we're really super focused on scaling in a way that we can ensure we still maintain the quality. So, like we're constantly looking at capacity because we don't want to just pull a bunch of marketing levers and then get flooded with calls and not be ready for it, and so right now our team is really shoring up our systems and our capacity, and then we want to start really, but luckily, because we're tied in and we have a really good reputation with our utility companies, and other partnerships, and also just word of mouth, we haven't had to market quite yet because of word of mouth and marketing done by these utility companies. So, like for instance, it was great. Like one of the utility companies will send an email comparing people's energy waste to their neighbors, and it just like really hits people, and then they reach out to us. Just so that's
Yeah.
been kind of just a luxury we've had, and we've been able to ride that. But now we're excited to really focus on marketing in a very sort of holistic way to as we scale, and just ensure our capacity can meet it. So, yeah, but I find all that really interesting and kind of fun to do. I like it as a creative challenge, and so does my team. My team finds it exciting, that this we're about to do this.
Yeah, you mentioned being ready before you scale or being able to handle leads. We deal a lot with that too. Just making sure we're have the capacity to continue to bring on new people because we don't want
Yeah,
to add clients and then not be able to give that white glove
sure.
service that we're known for.
Yeah.
I'm curious. I love talking to business owners too about digital marketing. I mean, we're marketers, but one of the things I'm doing with the podcast too is just really getting data and creating some case studies of what a perfect agency would look like. So I'm curious when you think about digital marketing, what are you guys doing currently? I know you have your website up, but
Yeah.
what are you doing to drive traffic? Are you getting good leads from the site? Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, and that's what I'm saying is that we honestly haven't had to do it quite yet because of the marketing campaigns by the utility companies.
Okay.
But I'm just starting to have those conversations, and we want to have a holistic marketing strategy. So we're going to like I just overhauled my website, and then we want to start tracking the analytics, and then we want to start really looking at partnerships and like LinkedIn. I really, just understanding our customer base. A lot of our customers we love. They're very, because someone who wants a home energy audit, they tend to be very just nerdy, educated, and they really kind of nerd out on what we like to think about, like building science. So, anyway, so just thinking about where they are. So that's probably where we're going to target first is LinkedIn, and then just sort of have a whole campaign around a YouTube channel too, I think would work really well for us because we have a strong voice, and I think we could offer a lot of just sort of helpful information, for homeowners. So I don't know. So just we're kind of thinking about that, and we're going to start going into those lanes. But we get a lot of our customers just organically, luckily, so yeah.
Just yeah. So you get leads from utility companies, and then you said organically. So people doing Google searches are finding you in the search results when you say
Yeah,
organically, or
exactly. Yeah, so, like, the utility companies do, like, commercials and mass emails and market, and then people search for, a home energy audit or radon mitigation or anything like that, and then they find us, and also word of mouth because 'cause we've been doing it so long, people just and we have good reviews, so people just, we get a lot through just word of mouth as well.
oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I did look at your review profile. Good job on the reviews. That is a huge part of it's building that trust and credibility, right? Plus the with the AIs now, ChatGPT and these Grok and these other models. That's one that they're scraping the search engines, right? So they're really stealing data in a lot of ways. But if you have a good, solid digital footprint um, on Google, then you have a really good probability of showing up when people are on these, say, ChatGPT, and they're typing in these long-winded questions, right? So uh, they're looking at your content. They're looking at your reviews are really important, and then FAQs are really important too in the AI world as far as having that on your site. They're scraping that and finding that as well because that's what's helping answer these questions, right? If you follow
Okay,
me there.
that's I do follow you there, and we do like, I just overhauled my website, and we have quite a bit of that. So, my what's it's really fun about my business is, there's, like I said, there's a huge, community of people who are passionate about building science, so FAQs and YouTube videos really lend to that. So, yeah.
Sure. You talk about you're just kind of early stages with marketing and expanding that digital footprint. Are there any pain points you've experienced with your marketing that you're just like frustrated with or bad
Yeah, I
experience?
think early right, I think early on, and this definitely dates me. About 10 years ago, ugh, a lot of like, I printed a lot of, collateral, like, hard copies that were useless. I remember my biggest mistake for sure was, um my neighborhood has this really fantastic, festival every summer, and I spent quite a bit of money, created a booth, and, like, literally, even my neighbors, like, avoided me. Like, no one people just wanted to drink a beer and eat food and not come to like,
Yeah.
so it's just a lot of awkward missteps with that, but that also dates me, now I wouldn't even think about that. I would focus, of course, online. So yeah. Yeah, so you learn quick. You're like, "Okay, this is" it led no leads to no leads, and it was awkward. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I never had much luck in those environments either. So, I feel your pain there. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I've been, I'm dated too, because I've been down that road, what you just described there as well. So I'm a little old school. I go all the way back to the Yellow Page days, back when that was, pre-Google and all that jazz. So, I'm really dating myself now. So let me uh, let me ask you a little bit about some customer insights and just industry trends as we kind of start to wind up here. What do
Sure.
you think customers are looking for most when it comes to weatherization services, and how do you ensure you meet their needs?
Found over the years that they don't know what that they don't know. So back to that example, like a customer will call me and they're in a really old leaky house with 80% leaky ducts and they're really just uncomfortable and maybe they even have asthma and some indoor air quality sensitivities and they'll call me and say, "Hey, can you blow some attic, insulation or attic to fix my house?" And so what I find is by performing the audit and our model works really well is that they need education and it just makes sense. It's physics and they just don't know. And so once we educate them, they're really appreciative. So I think just kind of seizing and recognizing that we have a lot to offer to teach them. And then once they learn it, it just makes sense. It just kind of sells itself. So that part, it took a while for me to have confidence and to take the reins of that, but once I do, our customers are highly appreciative. Does that make sense?
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mm, Sustainability, it's become a bigger focus, right? So, how is smart
Yes.
space adapt? How's it adapted to all the energy efficient trends? Because it seems like it's becoming
Yeah.
more and more popular out there, and things are changing. So, how are you guys
Sure.
adapting, and what do you see evolving in the future?
Right. Yeah. Like once again, I'm always been really passionate about environmental policy. And, I think there's some misunderstandings about electricity. I see in mass culture that, on the East Coast, electricity is still backed by coal. And so there lies the problem. And so by making your house more energy efficient, you're participating in reducing the carbon footprint. So that's never changed. But what we found surprising is we then also became really passionate because the same services we offer to reduce the carbon footprint also really help with indoor air quality and comfort. So that's just been a really nice added bonus to that. But that hasn't changed. Electricity is backed by coal on the East Coast, and that's going to take a while to change. And it does, by just having high electric bills, it does, contribute to the carbon footprint. So, yeah, so we just kind of just are still, stay true to that. And our mission does help that. So we haven't had to really shift.
Okay.
So
Yeah, no, that's
yeah.
awesome. That totally makes sense. So if we look down the road, we look backwards, right? We look at those early years. So if you're looking on the future, what are you hoping to achieve in the next 3 to 5 years with smart space as far as new
Ooh,
markets, expansion? But what's
yeah.
kind of your vision?
Yeah, we've also already offered quite a few services on the commercial side. So we have this really large, amazing service and machine called AeroSeal that seals ducts from the inside. So we're doing that. We were part of a research project through Georgia Power and AeroSeal where we're sealing large commercial duct systems that are crazy leaky. And that part's really exciting. And we're doing quite a few other services on the commercial side. So in the next 3 to 5 years, we do really want to have a holistic marketing campaign where we expand our teams on the residential and then also continue to expand and grow on the commercial side. So we've always wanted to have both divisions. We're passionate about providing audits and retrofitting services on both residential homes and commercial buildings. We like old buildings and old houses. We love working on them.
Well, yeah, like we mentioned earlier, they need help, right?
They do.
Arden, you've been great to visit with there. Do you have any questions for me?
Sure. Yes. I love talking about marketing. What have you found are the biggest sort of mistakes on in general when you're working with your clients about marketing? Like where do they waste time or energy on a whole? And so like kind of what advice have you seen or what have you seen across the board that people repeatedly, business owners repeatedly make as a mistake in their marketing strategies?
That's a great question. I think there's a lot of different mistakes they can make. I think one of the things is they don't really have a plan. Right? They really
Right.
sat down. And, what is my plan? What is my make sure they really know the ideal target that they're going after, ideal client. Who's your avatar? And then also, what services do you want to really go after, right? Meaning you may offer a wide variety of services, but there may be only, three or four of those that you really want to focus on for new leads, right? So that's all about in planning, you know, who's that avatar, who's that ideal client. And then last, budget, right? Have a true budget for marketing. Don't just, hey, I'm going to wing it or I'm going to throw this at it and hope it sticks, right? Because I think when you have that budget in mind, that means, hey, I've got this budget aside. I know I'm going to spend it on marketing, and you just free your mind. I'm a big believer that if you're trying to use marketing as desperation, I mean, I got to bring in jobs now to pay the bills. It's like the advertising gods are against you, right? Your mind's not free. You're worried
Yeah.
about spending the money. So have a budget, have a plan, really do some make sure you know exactly what services you want to go after because that way, if you're working with an agency, we can really come up with ideas and strategies to pinpoint that client. How are we going to get in front of them and get your message out so they pick up the phone and call you or they fill out a web form, right? Which is what we call a lead. So those would be just some kind of high level things that I always talk to clients about because if they have those in place, then we got a much better chance of having a successful campaign. And budget's a big one because you got to make sure again that hey, I've got the marketing budget aside, and I'm not going to be stressing about paying this, every month, right? And then give it time. Also, the other thing is time. Nothing happens quick. We haven't discovered sliced bread, so every marketing strategy we do on the digital front, it takes a little bit of time, right? But at the end of the day, we're trying to deliver three things, right? Our core values, obvious ROI. So we want our clients to know it's working. 100% transparency. We share everything that we're doing, all the data, right? And then the last, just we say best customer service on the planet. We really strive hard to take care of our clients and make sure we're there for them if they reach out. So that's what I would say to that
Great,
question. That's a
great.
great.
Yeah, great. Yeah, one last question too. How long do you typically work with clients? Do you like sort of set like what's your typical time frame when you're engaged in marketing campaigns with a customer?
Yeah, it just depends on what service we're doing, right? But typically, we'll do if we're going to do an agreement, our minimum would be 6 months, right? And then we also have packages where we offer discounts for 12 months. Um, we're real big on tracking lead conversion, right? So we can tell our clients exactly where the lead came from. Did it come from, if you're doing Google Ads or organic, or did it come off Facebook? And so, but typically time wise, say a minimum 6 months. We just got to have time to get the campaign rolling and then be able to analyze the data so we can make changes depending on what we're doing. If you're doing paid ads, it can be quicker. I mean, at 6 months is still the minimum because we got to have Google's got to read the campaign. We're showing ads up on searches for people looking for your services. If I'm doing an organic campaign, it's going to be a little bit slower process because now we're doing content link building, and we need time for Google to recognize our work and start moving that website up in the search engines. And also, all the organic work that we do which is all translated over to AI too. So we don't charge more for what we call AEO, answer engine optimization. So that's a cool thing. We don't try to nickel and dime our clients, but minimum 6 months to answer that question. Time is it just takes time, right? But that's why we are passionate about tracking leads. So our clients know exactly what is going on with the campaign and where the leads are coming from. Because when we do status calls, we're really big on that as well. We'll talk about that quality of the lead, and then more importantly, hey, did that convert? And that's when it gets fun because we're having conversations about, yeah, that lead from Todd Baldwin actually turned out he's got an old home. We're doing a lot of work for him. They signed up with us, so that's when it becomes fun when we're actually seeing the success and our clients are getting happy. We're happy. Everybody's happy. So, but yeah, you always think about a 6 month window minimum
Yeah,
is what I would
that
say.
totally makes sense. Yeah, that totally makes
Yeah, I
sense.
mean, there's we're not trying to lock people into long term agreements and hold anybody hostage, but it does
Yeah.
take a little bit of time.
Yeah.
So yeah, marketing's it's the digital front's always changing, like all businesses. So we just always preach, hey, make sure you have a really good digital footprint out there. Um, Harden, it's been so much fun chatting with you, man. I could talk to you all day. Such an interesting business and one that I think it's becoming more. I mean, it's relevant, it's real, but I think people are starting to think more and more about that. And how do I fix these situations I have at my home? And
Mhm.
also I think tell me this because a lot of what y'all do you can't see, right? Like you don't see like
That's yeah.
so like see mold or I mean if air's leaking, they can't see it leaking, right?
Well, they feel it. They feel it.
Yeah,
Yeah, and they do
they
see the
feel it.
mold, obviously, they do, and
Yeah,
so and that's why they call us. So the feeling is because Georgia in particular, it's really hot and humid in the summer, and then we have these
sure.
really acute cold snaps, so and that's when they reach out to us. They're not thinking about us on a spring or spring day. So,
No,
yeah,
yeah,
they feel
absolutely.
it. It's all
You
about
can see
feeling.
the mold, but if it's behind the walls or whatnot, right? I mean, like, hey, there's a problem or something's going on, right? I mean, and
Yeah,
then
yeah.
the air you feel it, but like I don't see air leaking. But so that's it's kind of like what it's kind of some of the work that we do. It's hard sometimes. It's like a black box. Like, what are how do you make a site rank, right? And so forth. So very very interesting. Well, Harden, tell all of our listeners if they are looking for smart space, how can they find you?
Sure. Yeah. So just head to our website at smartspaceatlanta.com. And, we have a lot of information on there. And of course, you can just reach out to us on our contact page. Yeah. And we set up a discovery call for sure.
Awesome. Well, Harden, thanks again so much for being on here. It's been a joy to visit with you and learn more about your business. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your week.
You as well. It's been a pleasure.